Hi there, you're listening to ECU Vanguard News. My name is Jack, and today I'm here with former Olympian and current sports news reporter, Ashleigh Nelson. As sports reporting has always been a huge passion in my family, I thought there was no other better person than Ashleigh herself. Let's get into it.
Oh, yes!
Alright, so I'm here with Ash. Ash, how are you today?
Very well. Excited to chat with you.
Yeah, I'm so glad. Now, obviously you're a sports reporter, but you weren't always a sports reporter, were you?
No, I wasn't. I've taken a long time to getting to be a sport reporter. I don't think anything's ever really linear, but I did used to be an athlete. So I was an Australian hockey player for about 10 years. And then on top of that, I was also an occupational therapist. So I kind of went through the motions with those two things. And when I ended up, unfortunately, finishing for Australia, I started to realise that, I tore my ACL in my knee, and rather than going to the Olympic Games, I decided that, I'm going to report on the Olympic Games. And it was a bit of a blessing in disguise, or a silver lining, because what ended up happening was that I realised that I was really passionate about journalism and staying in sport and reporting on sport. And so I gave up occupational therapy and I finished up with my career in hockey, and I went back to uni and I did a degree which was with ECU, a broadcasting degree. And as a result, I then ended up working over at Channel 9 in general news, but sport was what I was passionate about, and a full-time role came up at Channel 10. And the rest is history. So I guess you could say that, it's been a long time sort of getting to where I wanted to sort of be, but I don't really ever feel like I'm working now. And I love being part of sport and media, particularly with the growth in women's sport.
All right, thank you so much. So my next question was, if you had any advice for people who want to pursue sports reporting as a future career, do you have any advice you would give them?
I think you have to be really knowledgeable about a range of different sports, and what that means is that you need to be invested in making time to watch sport. And it can be a little bit of a passion, I guess you could say, but it's also a privilege because you're getting to watch sport and be involved in sporting teams and organisations and athletes, which I think is a real privilege to watch athletes go about their business. So I would say first things first, make sure you're watching sport and a wide range of sport. I think in general, my piece of advice for anyone getting into journalism is don't be afraid to make a phone call. A lot of the time we're quite poor at doing that. We'd rather send a text message rather than make a phone call, but building rapport and relationships with people is really important in this job. Just keeping across what's going on, but also having people come to you and say, oh, listen, I've heard this, or this would be a really good story. Are you interested in covering it? So it's not sport specific. It's actually just a comment about journalism in general. How you go about building your contact base and being involved in the community is integral. And potentially, I think also being a woman in sport and sport media has a couple of challenges in itself. And so you have to show a little bit of resilience and sometimes have a bit of a thick skin. And it sometimes can be a little bit of a boys' club mentality. Just kind of understanding what your strengths are. That it is really important that we've got women in media, not just covering women's sport, but also men's sport. And I think as time goes on, we're going to see that it's going to be a little bit more seamless for women in media and sport media in general. So for those girls that are wanting to get into it, I would just say be prepared to be tough. But it also is a great job, and there are certainly a lot of fantastic men in media who are wonderful allies and keep on pushing the growth of women in sport media.
Yeah, cool. Another question I have is, obviously you being an Olympian and all that, did you ever use that to help your career as a reporter at all?
I think there's a lot of crossover with being being an athlete and also being a presenter. First and foremost is everything is live and it's almost a performance.
Yeah.
So you have to be ready to go at all different times, and you also have to be prepared that things change, and so you have to kind of think quickly with what sort of unfolds. So there's that kind of alignment. I also think that a lot of the stuff that you say and do in media obviously is very public. Yeah. And so you're open to criticism, and as an athlete, you're always open to criticism as well. So I think that there has been a few things in terms of making sure that I'm a resilient person, which I learnt from being an athlete and having people always kind of going or making judgment on your performance or your job. That sort of prepared me for life in media as well. I think also the one thing that's also helped is that you've got an understanding of what elite performance looks like. So when you're actually making comment about sport and athletes in media, you've probably got a bit more understanding of what they're also going through. And contacts. It comes back to contacts once again. I probably had a little bit of a foot in the door in terms of knowing different people and having interactions with them, which has also helped when I'm trying to get a story or relate to an athlete. Try and use that to my advantage. So there are a few sort of things where I've gone, being an athlete and being part of the media isn't too dissimilar.
All right, and I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for listening to ECU Vanguard News. This has been Jack. See ya.